Yeah, there are so many, Laurie, as you mentioned. I mean, I was walking with Tutsi Kings in the Eastern Congo, in the jungle. I've been in the depths of the Amazon with communities. I've been on fishing boats in the Maldives where, they remove the planks and tuna just jump into the hull of the dhow. Lots of amazing experiences. The one I will share, though, is more sort of about luck, timing, and grace. In the beginning of my career at CI, I had this epically long trip through Latin America, visiting a series of projects from Mexico down to Chile. Towards the end of that trip, I was visiting a project in central Chile with the Mapuche. And I remember waking up in Temuco around 5 a.m., hopping in the truck with the general manager of this business who was half Mapuche, who was taking me up to the community, which was 4 hours away. 3 hours into the drive, he turns to me and says, oh, by the way, Harry, don't be surprised if nobody in the community acknowledges your presence when we get there. And I thought to myself, that's awkward because I'm doing diligence and I'm supposed to establish kind of an environmental and social monitoring program. I can't do that without talking to anybody. And I said, why? And he said, well, the philosophy of this community is that outsiders come from outside and typically they'll leave. So it's not worth their time to get to know you because you're not going to be there for very long. And sure enough, we arrived there an hour later, 9 o'clock in the morning. There was a circle of chairs, a loud, active conversation in Mapuche, and there was one chair in the corner facing the wall, and that was meant for me. So I sat in that chair. 9 o'clock turned to 10 to 11. Shortly after 11 o'clock, I thought it wouldn't be so rude of me at that point to reach into my bag and grab a book, which I did. But as I grabbed my book, this loud clatter went across the floor. And it was these seeds that were given to me in Guatemala by a Quechua woman, because when you rub them together, the ojo de venado, when you rub them together, they produce heat, so they can be used as a heating pad. The conversation immediately stopped. 25 pairs of eyes turned to me, obviously. And I was so embarrassed. And all of a sudden, this old woman got up, she walked over, she picked up one of the seeds. I picked up a handful and rubbed them together and showed her the heat, and I handed them to her. And then she walked away. I didn't think much of it. The conversation started up again. I turned back to my book sitting in the corner facing the wall. And 10 minutes later, she tapped me on the shoulder and she gave me, she had strung 2 necklaces, one with the ojo de venado, and then another one with the seed of the tree that they were planting, which was a vulnerable species, the monkey puzzle tree, Araucaria araucana. And I remember she asked me my name in Spanish, and then she immediately introduced me to the group. They made room, and I was included in the conversation for the rest of the day. We had a beautiful lunch. We did the diligence. We were able to do the establishment of the monitoring plan. And I tell that story because we often think that there's a disconnect between capital and community. We know that. We think that we need to be in community with technical resources and skills and expertise and the science and all that sort of stuff. But it reminded me, and it continued to remind me, I wore that necklace for 12 or 13 years until it started to disintegrate. But it continued to remind me that the bulk of this work isn't really about the technical skills and the science necessarily. It's about the relationships, right? It's about timing at certain points. It's about building trust. It's about the grace of an old woman that made a necklace for you and introduced you to people that wouldn't have acknowledged you otherwise. And again, it's kind of about luck.